Ladies and gentlemen, I bring the one and only TLO from Team Liquid. He is playing Terran in the blue trunks to the north versus his opponent, the one and only DIMAGA. He is in the red trunks and he is playing Zerg to the south.
And cross positions, we've seen many times before how hard this can be for Terran players. Pushes are so harder to do here because they get, you have to push earlier and you don't have the same amount of units. You're not going to have the element of surprise because the map is so big that it's literally going to take a minute to walk across the entirety of the map, which gives Zerg the time they need to build the correct composition of units to get into position, ready to flank, and just be ready to accept what's coming.
Yep, just sit there and accept it. It's the best way to go. That said, I don't think DIMAGA is going to be accepting anything, honestly. I believe he'll be aggressively denying that kind of play, as he did in the previous round with that Hellion opening. The flames were not blue, unfortunately, and as a direct result, he didn't do a lot of damage with it. But that said, that was kind of the build that he was going for. He's going for Refinery first again, so we'll see if he tries to execute the same build. I mean, it's TLO. Do we really expect him to execute the same build?
Yeah, I think he will. Just by going Refinery first, I think he's been practicing this build a lot more. And that's one of the changes from TLO that people are seeing now, is that he is going for a lot more standard with his builds. He's staying to the same build a lot more, so I think he will. And also, I was looking at it, and it's the first time I've really seen it, him using it, and it's quite a good build, to be honest. I quite like it. It's safe. You get a nice expansion up nice and fast, and it is really good. I like the way he takes off gas as well to push those minerals a little bit higher. Meanwhile, DIMAGA's at 16 food, throws down that hatchery now. We'll be following it up with a little bit of, I guess a later spawning pool. He might even want to go to 17 because it is so far away. It looks like he's going to stay on 16. Oh, he's going to go 17. 17 spawning pool. Nice and greedy.
Yep, pushing it. And you as a Zerg player absolutely love the greedy player. The question is, can TLO punish it with this Refinery first build?
I don't think he can, though, to be honest, because it's as much as it is Refinery first, he is getting the factory nice and early, but at the same time, he's concentrating a lot on getting his own expansion up. So a lot of his resources are there, which means he won't really have too many units out. And like I said, the problem with this build now that TLO's using, yes, it's good, you're going to get your expansion up, but that push we saw on Securus, which is kind of natural from this build, is going to be so less effective here, simply because it's so far away, and DIMAGA's going to see it. He'll just build, 50 lings, and it'll be in a good time. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see if TLO tries to transition out of this into possibly some kind of cloak Banshee play, which is not remotely uncommon when you go Refinery first. But that's going to be, it'll be indicative as to whether or not he goes that, whether he takes the second gas right here, which is not at this point looking all that likely. So we'll see what he decides to do. If he tries to execute this again, as he said, this is going to be really hard to do anything with for fairly obvious reasons.
Well, I mean, he's scouted cross positions now, and he knows that it's going to be a lot more difficult to use this build. So he'll get his expansion up, and then that's where we'll see some variety from TLO. If he wants to stay the same, or does he get the double gas immediately and start mining from both, and then change it up from there?
Yeah, but he's certainly not going to take the double gas. He's going for the expansion right here. DIMAGA moving out with 2 Zerglings, wants to try and kill his SCVs, and of course could take a bit of map control by grabbing 2 of these Xel'Naga towers. However, it looks like TLO is sending a little bit of a rescue force right here. They were late, but they will be able to collect the remains and take them home for a proper burial.
And one Ling does go down, and a Hellion. There is a Spine Crawler out though, and additional Queens, 2 more Queens. Again, we're seeing DIMAGA use this very mineral-only build.
The Ice Fisher build is what they call it, and he won't explain why. It was, of course, invented by Spanishiwa. Whatever the case, it seems to be effective in this particular matchup.
And there we do see the deviation here. We're seeing the 2 refineries been added on.
Interesting, second factory.
He knew something had to change with his style, with his build. A second factory going down. We will be seeing some Blue Flame Hail in action for sure here. The 2 fact opening. And he's going to be killing these back rocks with these units. DIMAGA has no idea about it. The problem with TLO right now is, yes, he's killing these back rocks. They will take a long time, which means the creep spread is going to push further up here, which means DIMAGA will see this very easily here.
Yeah, he's got to be careful, and because of the 4 Queens, it's going to take a not so long time at all, honestly, to push forward. The thing is, now he's pushing forward with the Hellions, and this is interesting, trying to apply a little bit of pressure to DIMAGA, and more to the point, trying to stop creep spread, because of course, if creep tumor goes down, it can be eliminated by those Hellions very rapidly. I'd like to point out that this is actually a 3-factory build with nothing but red flame Hellions, and that is not exactly what I'd call usual.
10 Lings are out now. The gas has been taken. He'll be wanting to get that speed very shortly now. And what TLO has to do is kill that creep tumor. He needs to kill it. Okay, good. kills the creature, but denies that creep spreading further and further.
Here's the problem. There's an overlord moving in the direction of those rocks, and if he pays any attention whatsoever, he will see the impact of the bullets right there on that destructible debris. Right here, a couple of queens going out, 3 in fact, and if the queens continue to push forward, they're going to see that, and he will move to intercept. Currently, he does not have vision of it, so unless he's been paying attention to the noises around those rocks, DIMAGA does not know this yet.
Yeah, I mean, he does. I'm looking at his vision. He does see it, and he sees the red flames. He sees the rocks
definitely
going
sees
down.
it now, no doubt.
So, I mean, he's got to be careful. There are a lot of Hellions. He has to be so careful with these queens. The only thing is, though, there are a lot of Hellions now. The armory is going down as well, and this is an intriguing strategy from TLO here. Just
armory.
Sole red flame Hellions, no tech lab, no reactor on these.
Yeah, it's red flame. It's either is going heavy upgrades on Hellion, or it's red flame Hellion and Thor, which is a curious mix. It's not that bad, though. I have to wonder if TLO's gearing up for some kind of SCV all-in with this. If he's going to go with a couple of Thors, he's already adding on 2 Tech Labs, so Thors are absolutely certain at this point, perhaps in combination with Blue Flame. He's found his way through here, and it's surprising that DIMAGA actually hasn't done a huge amount to defend it, and these are going to run into a wall of flame, and that's a nice little corridor for TLO right there. He can do some damage, but he is taking a pounding. DIMAGA just has so many queens. Great transfuses there as well.
Yeah, that was a pretty equal trade-off, really. He didn't really kill any drones, but he killed a lot of lings there. But now they have speed. This is where it gets dangerous for TLO, and here comes the flank.
Yeah, and that is really not where TLO wanted to be. He needs to line this up completely perfectly in order to annihilate it. He does have a lot of Hellions, but DIMAGA with a really great surround on that one. He's able to drive it away, but he takes a lot of losses. Oh, wow, look at that. DIMAGA, excellent control.
And I guess TLO is saying, whoopsie-daisy. That was not meant to happen. Those Hellions were meant to stay alive. He was meant to transition into Blue Flame with those Hellions, get those Thors out and go for a timing attack with these Thors and Hellions. But now he has no Hellions left, and there's a counterattack of Lings coming. There is nothing here to defend it. And these Lings, well, can do a lot of damage to this SCV line. Well,
he's got a Thor, which will very slowly kill everything. That said, these are unupgraded Zerglings, so he's not going to take a huge amount of losses. TLO with a good surround, and he actually doesn't lose a single worker, if you can believe that.
Well, didn't he lose? I'm sure he lost more than that.
Oh, never mind. Sorry, sorry, never mind. I misread that. He actually lost, what, about 2 or 3?
Yeah.
So still not a huge number, honestly. It could have been a lot worse.
And so we are going to be seeing this Thor and +1 with Hellions. He's going to need to get a reactor onto this 4th factory, otherwise he just won't have the Hellion counter. He needs to get these Thors. And the problem with this build is that Magic Box is good for Mutalisks. And also we have a very early infestation pit. He can also get the neural parasite as well and just control the Thors at the same time, take out a lot of them. He's even adding a roach warren because he knows he can't go Ling Mutalisk. He needs to get the roaches out and so on. So this is going to be a more composition based around infestors and Mutalisks with the roaches and so on. And it can be difficult for TLO because the thing is, actually 2 Hellions are coming in, but they should be okay. There's 2 queens here to defend against this.
Yeah, you might be able to get to the mineral line, maybe do a little bit of damage, get those 2 shots off, which are critical, but I would expect DIMAGA to dash out of there. You've seen something. What is it?
Oh, these 2 Hellions are doing a lot of damage to the mineral line. They actually killed, let's look at that, 8 workers down in the bottom right here.
Oh, very nice.
And they were the 2 Hellions I was looking at.
Oh, right, I was looking at the other Hellions, but there you go.
So
Magic
nine,
Hellions.
9 kills there, which is pretty good. And that's the problem with the Queens, they just don't have the DPS. Another 2 Hellions. This is so cost-effective for TLO.
Blue Flame Hellions are really, really good, and people have realized this after a while. There's that neural parasite, and also bear in mind one thing, and this is something that I do see. I would imagine this is going to happen an awful lot more in the TVZ matchup in future, is that you've got Terran players going with large numbers of Blue Flame Hellions. Now, the thing about Blue Flame Hellions is that they counter Blue Flame Hellions really well. If you neural parasite a few of those, you can actually do massive damage to a clump of Blue Flame Hellions. And while you would expect, well, let's just neural parasite the Thor. In the meantime, TLO scouts this expansion right here. The question is, can he do anything to it?
So we just had those Mutalisks there take out around 10, 12 SCVs on that main mineral line, and DIMAGA just wanted to get rid of them. He said, alright, you're going Thor Hellion, that's cool by me. I'm not going to go, I don't want to play Muta against this, so I'm going to do maximum damage with these, and I'll just trade them off, which is fine to do. And now he's transitioning into this very, very roach-intensive army with Neural Parasite, and this is going to be where it gets difficult.
Yeah, I would say that TLO does have the upgrade advantage at the moment. He is rolling out right here with a large selection of Thors. Has a couple of SCVs to help repair as well, and a tank in the mix. Admittedly, it does not have siege tech, but it might it's going to be very, very close one way or the other. If he continues marching at this pace, it's not going to have siege tech for a while. And if TLO strikes now, then at least he does have this +1 advantage. Admittedly, the Roaches have also got +1 armor as well. TLO deciding to turn around right now, and I have to wonder if he's going to actually march towards the 4th at this point.
That was so smart from TLO to pull back there. If you look at the unit tab, it's only 56 drones on Terminus. That is like, what? There's 4 bases, it's very, very low. And what TLO just did there was move halfway over the map, take the Zelnaga towers, and he forced DIMAGA to build 14 Roaches. So it was a really smart play there. The thing is, though, that this Roach count is very heavy. The Infestors now have enough. There's about 4 Neuroparasites ready, and that is 4 Thors less, and there's only 5 out there, so he's going to really have to try to target fire those Infestors down with these Hellions.
Yeah, we've also got +2 weapon upgrade coming up for vehicles, which is going to be interesting. And he's now actually building siege tanks as opposed to Thors, and he's got 2 starports on the way up as well. And what would you predict here? Because, I mean, TLO is a very unpredictable player. This is not your standard mech build, if I'm totally honest with you. I mean, his Hellion count's not as high as I would have expected, for instance. And I have to wonder what exactly his plan is here. Is he going to use these starports to build Banshees against the Roaches? Is he going to go for Vikings in order to give vision?
Well, he needs to get into good position. That's #1 rule. He's going to take a 4th base now very, very slowly. Once the 4th base is up, he can slowly push around the map and decide which way he wants to swing in the middle of the map. The problem what he's going to come up against is a very low drone count, aggressive July Zerg style DIMAGA. He's going to have a lot of units on the map. And he's not going to have that many drones, but he's going to have so many units. We're already at 50 Roaches.
That is a lot of Roaches.
And the tanks are unsieged right now, which could be huge. He needs to get them in siege mode.
Yes, he does. I think he should be able to get them sieged up in time, honestly. Roach is not all that quick, even with Roach speed. So there's the scan. He's going to see them coming. He's got plenty of time to siege. That's a large clump of Roaches and big damage with that +2 as well. Roaches just took a pounding. The question is, now does he have the firepower to bring them down before they smash the siege line? DIMAGA is losing a lot of Roaches here. He's bringing in some reinforcements, and the Infestors didn't really come into play there whatsoever. TLO cleaning this up quite nicely.
Yeah, the Infestors did nothing there, actually, so it's kind of a waste to even have them. So that was a really good engagement for TLO.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, not really a really good engagement for TLO, but a really nice, solid hold in that position. He gains the 4th base now, and this is where his Hellions are going to come into play a lot more. He can swing left, he can swing right. Because he's in the center now, he has this great position where he can go to that left hatchery and put Hellions there. He can go to the right and do harassment. Meanwhile, we are seeing a great Aspire come up for DIMAGA now, and will be wanting to go into those Broodals very, very shortly. But look at this, a great transition from TLO as well. Getting a double starport and 2 Banshees out at the same time with Cloak as well.
Smart.
And that's going to really, really throw a little twist into this game.
Oh, it will. I mean, there's no Overseers on the map. The Spore Crawler count, as far as I've seen, has been effectively nil. This Great Aspire is going to be a real problem for TLO. This is the kind of thing he's got to scan, and he must respond to it with Vikings immediately. Transition out of this Banshee play, and there is the scan going down on the base. Does it see the Great Aspire? I believe it does.
Yes, it does. So he knows exactly what's coming. It was great timing of that scan as well when the Great Aspire is around 50%. So he's now getting, well, he will be wanting to add on a couple more starports, as you can see, getting some more Vikings out, plus 3 vehicle weapons. And the cloaking field, and which I don't think DIMAGA is really expecting. Well, he's not expecting it.
Absolutely
is that
not.
He's literally going to be able to go to that left hatchery in a few seconds when Cloak is done and snipe the hatchery. And all of a sudden, DIMAGA is back on 3 base. The main base is mined out. The natural's not so far away from going down, and neither is the 3rd. So once that hatchery goes down, he might just go in and try to snipe the Infestors first.
It's probably smart to do that. He actually has a significant army supply advantage, and that +2 vehicle weapon is tearing the Roaches to pieces. Now, the question is, what will TLO engage first? Is he going to go and attack this particular group right here? Just going to keep going? And I would imagine, go for the Infestors, as you said. A fungal growth goes up, but it only hits 2 of them, and that has not helped all that much at all. Infestors will, I would imagine, go down here. Blue Flame Hellions absorbing an awful lot of damage from those Roaches, and the Thors should be able to chew their way through. The tanks are pretty far back, which is unfortunate, but TLO still has 3 Banshees up, and now the Broodlords come in. The question is, are the Vikings up? There's only 1, there's 4 more coming in. However, with +2, he should be able to snipe them off with the Thors.
Oh, he's killing all the Queens with all the energy, which is meant to transfuse those Broodlords. These Broodlords are going to be very weak. The hatchery goes down. Excellent play from TLO. This is the TLO that everybody's wanted to see, and now he's going to be able to swing left to that hatchery and go take down all these drones, and DIMAGA is left in shambles. He's sending a Hellion to the right-hand side to scout for any hatcheries on this side as well, and the food count 196. +3 vehicle weapons is about to finish. The Vikings are coming out as well. He has a Raven in the mix. Absolutely fantastic play from TLO in this game.
Absolutely brilliant. It really, really is. And this is the kind of creativity that we expect. It's an unorthodox mech build. This heavy upgrade style does work. Thors rip it up with that kind of firepower. And against a heavy roach composition, these AoE damage cannons just absolutely destroy. Now, DIMAGA is actually moving out, and it's moving into a perfect position now for TLO to do huge damage. He can get his Vikings into position and snipe off the Overseer, which is what he's going for right now, and then he can deal with the Broodlord. So here comes the massive flanking force right here from TLO. A +3 just finishes. Now, these roaches are going to do some damage, but once these Thors and tanks come crashing in, the roaches are not going to last very long.
And a counter-attack has been launched from DIMAGA into the natural area of TLO. And if he loses all these roaches, he's going to lose the game behind it as well. So TLO has to go back and defend it. And once he has defended it, it's going to be great. Because look at the income for DIMAGA. It is so low right now. His bases are basically all mined out now. And TLO is going to hold this counter-attack as well. And as soon as this counter-attack has been dealt with, he'll just launch straight for the throat of DIMAGA.
Yes, he will, and he would be absolutely right to do so. Minimal damage has been done to TLO's economy right now. He's smashing his way through. Yes, there are a few roaches that have made it in there, but they're not going to do any real damage before the Banshees pick them off. TLO needs to now gather his forces immediately. The production is extremely low right here for DIMAGA. He's pumping out a couple of Corruptors, may try to increase his Broodlord count, but the problem is there's 15 Vikings. You don't want to do anything of the sort. And might I point out how few upgrades DIMAGA really has at this point?
15 Vikings, 0 Infestors, and only currently 6 Corruptors.
Could this be a better setup for TLO to take this game?
No. TLO's going to pretty much walk over DIMAGA as soon as he decides to do so. 186 food. The Banshees have done so much damage in this game. It was absolutely fantastic. All the Vikings are going around the map now, picking off Overlords as well. And this Banshee's going to come in and do some more damage with the Raven as well, picking off creep tumors as well. Absolutely stellar play here.
It's really, really good. There's no doubt about this, and TLO is proving a lot of people wrong at this point. It's brilliant to see. Quick transfuse there on the Corruptors, and he's going to need to get those Vikings out there. Things he's got a lot more spare. There's the cloak. It doesn't quite get him out of there in time, but the slow march will start from TLO any moment now with this really heavy mech build. These Thors have pretty much lived the entire game. They have taken huge amounts of kills for themselves. 17 Vikings. It's going to be 21 Vikings by the end of this. Honestly, I think that might even be overcommitting to it, but I suppose he can land them.
Alright, so that was a bit of a mistake from TLO in the center of the map. He actually lost 3 Thors to nothing there.
Ouch.
Which is a little bit of a mistake there, but he's got so many Vikings and so many units behind this, he should be okay. The corruption spell goes down on these Vikings, and look at that one-shotting Corruptors currently.
Yeah, the problem is the Corruptors are also doing a lot of damage to that Viking count. That said, TLO significantly outnumbers the number of Corruptors that are on the field right now. Once TLO breaks this, he'll probably try and go for the Broodlords behind it, and whatever the case, that is very, very concerning right now if I happen to be DIMAGA. 3 Thors on the field. He's not adding any more. He's just now relying on tanks primarily for DPS. Nothing wrong with that either. Army count is 124 to 87 in TLO's favor. Here comes a big, solid engagement. If TLO smashes this Corruptor count, he can kill those Broodlords before they do any significant damage. And now DIMAGA trying to smash his way through there, and he actually gets into range of the tanks. Several tanks taken out already. The Broodlord count needs to die, and TLO needs to back off. Must clear this out immediately, and then it can go for the attack.
Yeah, now he's going to land his Vikings, clean up these units here, and he'll continue to push back with all these tanks and Thors and Marauders. So many Vikings. There are a lot of Lings out here which are going to help DIMAGA, but at the same time, these upgraded tanks, +3 and 1 armor.
GG,
excellent,
ladies and gentlemen, and there you go. TLO, the first player in this particular tournament to even take a map from DIMAGA. Very, very impressive and creative play.
And